The safest assumption we have to make in this moment is that kids are going to be using artificial intelligence at home. So whatever happens past 3 p.m., expect that to be powered by a supercomputer in some way. So
this isn't going to be a list of apps that you should be using in class, but more around discussion of how technology can help you do your job more effectively and more efficiently.
Why is it important? At its basic level, it's exactly as it sounds. Education technology. It pretty much accommodates all types of learners and closes the gap with traditional learning.
But the higher order, critical thinking, deep learning, and discussion, all of that happens in the classroom. So the classroom really has to be a place where the deep learning is happening, where the testing is happening, and where we're raising the bar on knowledge.
Last time I told you how I almost lost my teaching job because I didn't know how to use technology. I told you about Venezuela when my 5-year-old son had to teach me Microsoft Word. I also told you about the US when I had to call my sister long distance to help me with my Excel spreadsheets. And I told you about the UK where I messed up every child's learning journey on Tapestry. And I nearly got sacked. Today, I want to tell you what came after that fear. Because surviving abroad as a teacher isn't just about lesson plans and salaries. It's about learning how to learn again, or opening yourself to the possibility of learning again. So let's talk about it. The fear, the learning, the transformation. I have learned that fear has a way of disguising itself as competence. I've been able to fake it until I make it. But the thing is, you show up early, you mark your books, you smile at parents, but deep down you're terrified someone will find out you don't actually know how to navigate the school portal. For me, it was every morning with the smartboard. That smartboard nearly conquered me. That giant glowing screen stood there like a reminder that I was behind. The other teachers would walk in, tap a few buttons, and display interactive lessons like magic. Me, I'd just pray it wouldn't freeze while my pupils stared. Once I spent an entire lesson pretending the board was updating. The truth was, I had no idea how to calibrate it, and it was just everywhere. When I finally tried it, it looked like a toddler had taken over the pen. I would write on one side of the board, and then the writing would appear on the other side, and I would click on an X and a Y will appear. It was just crazy. But that was fear. Not just of the technology, but of being found out. Because when you're an immigrant teacher, there's already this quiet pressure to perform, to prove that you deserve to be there. And I was failing that miserably, because you worry that your accent might make you sound less competent. You worry that asking for help will confirm every single stereotype that they secretly believed about African teachers before you arrived. So instead of asking, you hide. And I hid. In fact, I became a master of hiding. And I know how many different opportunities would have come up for me, which I refused to take because of technology. Sometimes I would arrive early just to do registration. In schools that use Sims or ISAM, I'd open tabs slowly, terrified I'd click on the wrong name because one wrong click, one missing attendance mark could lead to a meeting with my line manager. And these meetings meant questions and queries that I knew the answer to, but I also knew the consequence of answering those questions. So I avoided the questions and I let fear dictate how I navigated these spaces. And do you know what? That fear followed me everywhere, into the staff room, into the classroom, even into my confidence. And fear, if you let it, becomes your teacher. so that instead of opening yourself to opportunities, you close yourself up and you don't grow. The turning point came the day my head teacher sent me for tech training. It wasn't a compliment. It was damage control. But looking back now, that moment actually saved me. They paired me with this teacher that was younger than me by far, and someone who had secretly thought I was more experienced than. Experience in the classroom does not equate to experience with EdTech. And she taught me how to use Seesaw, ClassDojo, Microsoft Teams, and Google Workspace like it was second nature. And for the first time, I stopped fighting the shame and I just started learning. I actually opened myself up to learning. You see, the truth is, learning tech as an adult, especially when you're a teacher abroad, isn't about intelligence. It's about unlearning pride, because pride will keep you stuck longer than ignorance ever will. I learned that the hard way. So every week after that, I picked up one platform to master after she had taught me how to use all these different platforms. One week it was Seesaw, learning how to post evidence of learning. Another week it was ClassDojo, figuring how to communicate with parents respectfully. Then came Microsoft Teams, online assignments, shared folder, even using dictation to listen to children read from afar, creating breakout rooms and channels, and other skills required to boost my confidence. At first, it felt like a storm of tabs, but slowly it started to make sense. I would also watch YouTube tutorials late at night after my kids had slept, just to reinforce what she had told me, because I was too ashamed to go back to her. And some of those creators who created all those documentaries for me didn't even know they were saving a woman's career somewhere across the world. Every night I would watch their channels and their videos, and it really helped me. I also discovered Google Workspace, Google Docs, Forms, Slides, and I realized that these were not just digital tools, they were survival tools. Survival in a workspace that was far away from what I'd grown up with. And then came the apps. I never thought I'd use these apps. There was Flipgrid, where students recorded reflections. There was Padlet for collaborative boards, where I could collaborate with teachers from everywhere across the globe. There was Nearpod, where lessons came alive. And later, when AI entered the classroom, I wasn't running. I was ready. Because all these other platforms were like precursors to understanding how to use AI properly. I learned that technology doesn't replace good teaching, it amplifies it. But you have to be humble. You have to be humble enough to start where you are. We need to drop whatever chip we have learned to use as our protective layer, and to embrace the fact that we are not just teachers teaching abroad, but also students learning a new system as we teach in these new spaces. Because in this new era of AI and EdTech, your willingness to learn is your new qualification. These days, I still struggle with tech, especially new tech, which my students seem to naturally adapt to in the blink of an eye. But the difference is, I no longer see it as a weakness. I see it more like a mirror, because this mirror shows me what I'm ready to grow through. I am that teacher who once begged a 5-year-old for help. Seems like a long time ago now, but it really happened. And now I'm the one helping others set up their online learning environment by helping them access tech that they would not necessarily think they needed before looking for jobs abroad. I still make mistakes. Sometimes I forget to record on Teams, or a file goes missing, or the app updates again overnight and everything I've done before now seems foreign to me. But instead of panicking, I pause. I Google, I learn. Sometimes I even ask my students to help me, because what better way to show students that you're willing to understand them than by showing them how vulnerable you are to some things, so that they can then see their vulnerability as a strength as well. That's what transformation really looks like. It's not overnight confidence, it's consistent courage. And if you're a teacher watching this, especially one preparing to go abroad to teach, please don't wait until the first day of school to meet your tech tools. Prepare now. My advice is that you start with Seesaw for student portfolios. Then you can add on ClassDojo for behavior and parent communication. Also, learn Microsoft Teams because you will need this for collaboration. Then add on Google Workspace for productivity. Throw on Tapestry for early years assessment. Then start to understand SIMS or ISAMs for attendance, writing reports, and keeping student records. Learn them early. Practice them often. And when in doubt, YouTube it. Because the truth is, YouTube saved me long before I became a YouTuber. Yes, it was one of the reasons why I decided to create my own YouTube to help teachers like me access teaching abroad, so that there's more of us in this space. And one day, maybe your video will save someone like me who was drowning in tech ignorance and just needed a lifeline from someone who understood the assignment, someone who understood the background, someone who understood that it's a collective that we need to address. To my younger self, the one who thought that she wasn't smart enough to survive abroad, the one who cried over a smart board and felt small in the staff room, you were never behind. You were just before your breakthrough. Every teacher has a learning curve. Ours is just a little steeper because we carry accents, culture, expectations, and passports that sometimes feel heavier than our degrees. But technology, it's not your enemy, it's your bridge. Learn it, not just to survive, but to shine. Because next time they call your name in a digital meeting, you won't be the teacher who's scared to click. You'll be the one leading the training. I believe that this is your time to learn, to adapt, to transform. Because fear will keep you still, learning will move you forward, and transformation will make sure you never have to beg your 5-year-old for help again. This is Diaspora Doodles. See you in the next episode. Bye.